Hey, happy Saturday to you. I'm Eric, and you're watching Eric's Crypto Corner. I'm a tax accountant with over 17 years of experience in that field, and I've been in the crypto space for just about 5 years, buying crypto, selling crypto, doing some mining. And today's topic, we're going to talk a smidge about AI. So let's go ahead and get today's video started. All right, I've been in crypto for like 5 years, mining in 2020, 2021, 2022, and that really went downhill when Ethereum, went to proof of stake. So Ethereum, as many people know, is like the second biggest crypto out there, and miners supported that network, did all the transactions, made sure that transactions are processed, and so on and so forth. But Ethereum decided that they did not want to do proof of work anymore. They wanted to move to proof of stake, which basically means that they're going to eliminate all the individual miners like myself, and any of you who are out there that used to mine Ethereum know exactly what I'm talking about. Well, a lot of us bought some hardware specifically for mining Ethereum and other projects that were proof of work projects. And we would buy specifically graphics cards. Normally that's what you would use to mine things with Ethereum and some other projects. But when Ethereum went to proof of stake, a lot of that hardware just wasn't being used anymore. You couldn't really do very much with it. So unless if your electricity rate was free, so AKA you're living in somebody else's home, or maybe your apartment doesn't charge you rent, or your landlord doesn't charge you any costs for your utilities, people really couldn't mine Ethereum or other smaller projects anymore because the power cost outweighed the amount of money that they were making from mining with their graphics card. So graphics cards have kind of sat still, idle for a long time. A lot of GPU miners, graphics cards miners, they were selling their equipment over the last couple years. I myself have sold most of my equipment. At one point, I did have 29 graphics cards in my basement, and actually was so warm in my basement in 2020 and 2021 that I didn't even have to turn on my furnace. And I live in Northeast Wisconsin. It gets cold here, man. It's like it can get like 20, 30 degrees below zero some days. And so anyways, it was always kind of the running joke that, I didn't have to have heat run in for 2 winters because I had so much heat coming from my basement with all those graphics cards. But needless to say, that time is come and gone. And so now we're kind of left with, well, what do we do with all this equipment? Well, I sold most of those graphics cards. And as you can see in the previous videos and some of my shorts, I'm really pretty much down to like 3 graphics cards. I have a 3060 that I actually just recently bought, brand new. And I have a 4070 Ti Super and a 4070. Last year at this time, I had actually a little bit more inventory when it came to graphics cards because you could make money doing some AI rentals. And that's what we're going to kind of see what's cooking downstairs today a little bit. Now, AI rentals has kind of been a newer thing. I came across a video about a year ago that you could take your computer and you could basically rent it out to people that wanted to do machine learning. And really what that means is that people are renting your hardware to train their model or to train their program, and they need hardware in order to basically teach it. And instead of them buying a computer for 1,000 or 2,000, or heck, it could even be more than that, way more, like $4,000 or $5,000, they just can rent out your computer for a certain amount of time. And Salad is basically the middle person that provides people like me that have some hardware available to people that want to do machine learning, but they don't want to spend the money on getting their own hardware. So that's what Salad does, is it deploys a small program on your computer that a person can come in and rent your machine, and you then get paid a very small amount of money in exchange for that usage. And so let's go ahead and take a look and see what Salad is all about here on the history. And I'm going to take a look at my spreadsheet here to kind of show you. So I'm kind of a nerd this way because I am in the accounting industry for the last 17 years. And I want to know how much each computer is making or losing or whatever, and what my ROI is and all this other stuff. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. Okay, so what I did here is I created a spreadsheet um, in Excel, a while ago. And in the very beginning, so I started Salad way back in June of 24. And I'm not even like the newest person to this. Actually, Red Fox had his video out on how to do Salad. And when I saw this, I mean, I don't think I'd been doing anything with my equipment for probably a year and a half. I mean, it was a pretty long time, and my equipment was just kind of sitting idle. Anyways, so I had swapped out, some of I had 5700 XTs, and I sold all those for some 3060s and 3070s and 3080s and whatever. And then I was like, you know what, I'm going to swap them out for the 40 series cards. So it's not super important to look at these, but last year at this time, I did start with a couple of 4070s here. Okay. And you can see that Salad was earning, about $2.86 a day on those two 4070s. We were doing very, very well in the very beginning. When I started these three computers up, I was just like, oh my gosh, I've jackpot again. And when you think about it, it's like, hey, it's not that big of a deal, that you're making $3, a day, but I'm kind of a volume guy. So I'm like, okay, well, if I'm making $10 a day in revenue, and let's just say, after power, so here's my earnings and here's my profit, I'm making $6 a day. I'm like, okay, well, I'm making $180 a month ballpark, or $150 a month. And I even add like, internet and some other things like kind of averaged into there or whatever, because I did have to upgrade my internet a little bit to run these machines. So I was like, okay, well, I'm making $5 a day. Life is good. Well, then we can see in, July, after YouTube has its way and gets people, kind of out there, then you can see the earnings started dropping kind of right away. But I was like, okay, well, it's not terrible still. I'm still making, about $250 a day, $75 a month, profit there. And so I'm like, all right, let's go ahead and add another machine. So I added a 4060 Ti, and these are all kind of averaged out numbers. And then I added a 3060 here. And then we started right about at the end of August is when I kind of stopped estimating like I'm guessing like what my earnings and everything are. So these are just kind of averaged out based on what I had earned in that period of time. So when I hit September 1st of 2024, I was like, okay, Eric, enough averaging. We're going to have to really dial this down here. So I started looking into what each card was individually making each day. So Salad does have a nice reporting function that their graphs do track about 30 days worth of history by graphics card. And then I was like, okay, well, let's see how much we're making. So some days, and you can see this day, this 4070 made nothing. So it ran all day and it made nothing. And then here we come like 9 days later, it made nothing. And here, we see 6 cents on this 4070. So, the way that this works is that while your machines are idle, they still cost you power and they still cost you internet and other things. And so you're kind of, and you can see kind of over here, like not a lot cooking, right? It was like rented for a little bit, and then the buyer or customer is hopping on, hopping off. And this was a good day. This was a good day. Not a great day. Great day. Okay, not great. Terrible, right? So this is all dependent on what kind of customers does Salad have to provide you, and what kind of hardware are they looking for? Do they want this graphics card, these graphics card, this graphics card, so on and so forth? So you can see these are the processors I was using. This is how much RAM I have on those things at that time. I've adjusted some of these as time has gone on, so it's not been 100% accurate the whole time. Sometimes I did have 128 gig on some of these. But the bottom line here is that Salad, when we're looking at her daily profit, was doing okay back in September 24. We can see that I did have some losses some days, right? I mean, there were some negative numbers here, but we get to October of 24, not terrible, not terrible. We get to all the way to December of 24, And then we start kind of seeing, some more negative numbers kind of popping up here in January 25. So this is, the current year. We see some negative numbers. And in January 25, I was like, okay, maybe, this isn't going to work that much longer. And so you can see, I had 5 graphics cards here, and all of a sudden I made a decision mid-January 2025. I sold that 4070. Okay. So that went away, and then we can kind of keep seeing these negative numbers, negative numbers, negative numbers, negatives. And I'm like, okay. And we can see that I kept those things running for a while. And then we get down to about April here. And that's when I kind of pulled the trigger. You can see I actually added a 3060 because I was like, oh, maybe I'll buy a 3060 here and see if a cheaper, because obviously this is a way cheaper card. And I had some good luck with this 3060 because I had bought that actually in February. And I was like, okay, let's just see where we go with the cheaper cards, because maybe the return on investment would take me less time, being that the people that are paying 4070 rates, the rates for these are not that much, lower. So I basically was going to give those lower end cards a try. Well, you can see, we have negative numbers, negative numbers. So I pulled, the 3060s off. I sold another 4070. I specifically remember selling that. Another one in April. Okay. And then I left a 4060 Ti run, one 4070, one 4070 Ti run, super, sorry. But we kind of kept dealing with this, this loss, not great. So I gave up, and I was like, for 30 cents a day, and I can sell this card for, at the time they were going for, $500-$600. I'm like, the ROI on this is going to be ridiculous. It's going to be like, 3, 4, 5 years. By that time, graphics cards are going to be, I don't know, a 90 series by then or whatever. So I just decided not to do it anymore. So I kept the 4060 Ti on and the 4070 Ti Super on, for a little while. And then I just got to be, okay, I sold the 4060 Ti. That went away. And then I've really just been running this 4070 Ti Super since. And what we can see here is, this, I think my power was estimated here, but then we can come into like June of this year, right? And I did throw back on, it looks like the 3060 in June. And I'm like, okay, see how things are going. And then when we get down to the end here, that's kind of where we're at. I know it's October 18th. I haven't updated this for a few weeks, partially because I've been just in the middle of starting my own business with the accounting thing. And this isn't a sell point or anything, but just been really busy the last few weeks. So anyways, you can see that now it's kind of dried up. Okay. And Salad did send out an email saying, hey, we've lost a lot of customers. You may want to turn things off. And so we're going to flip over to the Salad graphs from 9/22 and to current and see what that's looking like right now. Okay, so, I pulled up the Salad website here, and this is kind of where I stopped tracking in my Excel. I can come back and still grab that because I got like 30 days of history. So I got to get that updated here pretty soon. So a good video reminder. But you can see, that we had nothing going on here for a couple days, and we had some pumps here. And I did add, a 3060 back in the mix. I have one running at a friend's. So I'm actually just going to turn that one off because that one doesn't really count. But you can see that, pretty much nothing, right? Salad lost a lot of customers. And so this equipment is just kind of sitting there idle. We can see we made 58 cents on the 23rd, and really, a blip there of 9 cents. Not much going on. But then they did send out an email early October kind of saying that they were working on getting some new customers. We had some activity here. We made about 90 cents there, 84 cents there. And then just a few days ago, things started really kicking off. And Salad is really good, about sending messages to clients just saying, hey, we've got a lot of jobs. If you have these particular graphics cards and so on and so forth, turn them on. And so I've been leaving stuff on anyway, just in case if there was a rogue, job that came in. And that's kind of what this was here. But now we've been pretty consistent here. The 3060 at my friends hasn't really been doing anything. You can see that's the yellow line, I think. I'm colorblind, but I think that's yellow. But you can see that the 4070 Ti Super, which is the purple here, I think, has done very, very well. And even the 4070 has been picking up jobs this last few days. Okay, so Salad has been paying out a little bit better just this last week or so versus what it was doing before. Okay, so at the end of the day, the real question is, Eric, why are you wasting your time with these graphics cards making a few cents a day? And the answer is this: it's just a hobby for me. I like doing it. It's something that I can do. It's something I can tinker around with. This is not something that you're going to go do and spend, $10 or $20,000 on, and then you're going to get a lot of money and have an ROI and a return on investment in a year or two. I've learned that the hard way, that this equipment, whether you're graphics card mining, if you're GPU or CPU mining with your processor, if you're doing AI rentals, which is kind of the new in thing to do, none of this is really going to yield you significant earnings of any kind. It's something that you can do for fun. If you've got a nice computer and you're a college student, or maybe you work at a job 10 hours a day, or maybe you just don't even use it all that often and it's on anyway, then go ahead and fire up Salad. Maybe you'll make a few bucks, and they pay out in gift cards normally. So I get Amazon gift cards. You can do PayPal, other gift cards. There's like gaming gift cards and stuff like that, whatever you want to do. I think you can even get like Visa and MasterCard, like prepaid debit cards and stuff like that. But the point is that it's not going to be something that's going to make you rich. That's for sure. In fact, I've probably lost way more money with the AI stuff than I had even doing the GPU mining. So the GPU mining was very profitable for quite a while. And this AI rental stuff is more kind of hit and miss. All right. So I hope that you kind of learned today what Salad is. If you want to learn about how to install Salad on your computer, very simple stuff. There are some minor settings that you have to change. Maybe I'll do a video on that at some point if that helps the community. I think there's a lot of that out there already, but hopefully that helps you kind of understand what I'm doing with some of my leftover equipment. And if you've got a computer sitting around, feel free and use that and maybe make a few bucks a month for some money for yourself then. Okay. All right. Well, thanks for stopping by today. I really appreciate you watching my video. And as usual, this is not financial advice. As I mentioned before, don't go out and buy a bunch of hardware for this. It's not going to work out for you. I guarantee it. It didn't work out for me, and it's not worked out for a lot of other people that I know and that I see online as well. So this is just for educational purposes and mostly entertainment. So hope you have yourself a great day today. And until next time, peace.